All right, nightly review 25 coming at you. So number 1 says solve and graph on a number line. So we need to get our variable or letter f by itself. So to get rid of it by itself, we have to do the opposite. The opposite of a plus 4 is a minus 4. So we subtract 4 from each side. Those cancel. F is left by itself. Our sign stays the same. 15 minus 4 is 11. So F is less than or equal to 11. So on a number line, here's 11, 12, 10. We know our circle is going to go on 11. Since it's underlined, that means it's also equal to 11, so we're going to color that circle in. And then all numbers are less than or equal to 11. Less than is that way. And that's your graph. All right, number 2 asks for the ratio in simplest form of shaded to unshaded. So we have to count the boxes, but let's just see first. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27 unshaded boxes. So I kind of went backwards. I did unshaded before I did shaded. Sorry. But remember, it asks for shaded to unshaded, so my unshaded goes last. Now let's count the shaded boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So we have 15 to 27. But it asks for simplest form. So think of a number that goes into both 15 and 27, because there is one and it should be an obvious one. 3 goes into both 15 and 27. So let's divide each side by 3. 15 divided by 3, or 3 goes into 15 5 times. 3 goes into 27 9 times. So my reduced ratio is 5 to 9. All right, number 3. John is cutting a 10-foot long piece of pipe into lengths of 2/3 foot. How many pieces of pipe with this length can he cut? So are we splitting up the 10-foot pipe or what we want each one to be? We're splitting up the 10-foot pipe. So it'll be 10 divided by 2/3, since that's the size he wants. Now we have to KFC. Sorry, this is number 3. K means we keep, so I'm going to go ahead and put 10 over 1. F means flip, division to multiplication. C means change, so the 3 is going to go on top and 2 on the bottom. Now we're ready to multiply across. But before we multiply across, I know there's a number that goes into both 10 and 2. 2 goes into 2 1 time, 2 goes into 10 5 times. This will make life easier. Now we multiply across. 5 times 3 is 15. 1 times 1 is 1. But we already know if we have something over 1, that's just saying that it's 15. So John can make 15 pieces of pipe. Alright, Shannon Cron ran 18 miles in 5 days. Notice I have already put it in a ratio. They want to know for 9 days. Now, I don't know about you, but you cannot go from 5 to 9 with a solid number. It's going to be a decimal. So I'm going to find the unit rate first. To find the unit rate, I just divide so I can get it. So 18 and 5. 5 goes into 18 3 times. Subtract. Decimal, bring down, 5 goes into 30 6 times. So if you multiply your day by 3.6, you'll get how many miles they go in one day. So let's do 9 times 3.6 to get how many miles Shannon will go. 9 times 6 is 54. Carry the 5. 9 times 3 is 27 plus 5. 32. Now we see that there's one number that was behind a decimal. Put it in there. We have 32.4 miles. All right. So number 5 is very similar to one that we had on our nightly review last week. So I'm not going to give you the answers to this one, but I am going to talk you through it. So it says Aquarius is an underwater science laboratory located at a depth of 65 feet below sea level, located in the Florida Keys. So part A, write the integer that describes the depth. Well, if it's below sea level, is my 65 going to be positive or negative? Write that down. Part B says identify the meaning of 0 in the situation above. Again, I said this answer on the video last week, so if you don't remember, refer to that video, but think about what 0 would be. If there's below and above sea level, what would 0 be? All right, number 6. Simplify the expression to its lowest form. So we have 9 times the quantity of x plus 3x minus 1. Well, I'm going to simplify what's inside my parentheses first, because I know I can add x to 3x. X plus 3x is 4x. Bring the rest down. Now I know when I have a number on the outside of parentheses, that means I need to multiply and distribute it. So 9 times 4 is 36. Your x stays attached. Bring down your minus 1. And that's as low as we can go, because we cannot combine 36x with this 1, because this has a variable attached to it while this does not. Now number 7 is going to require a lot of work from you, so if you're doing this on the pink paper and not on a separate sheet of paper, pause the video and get a separate sheet of paper. Because number 7 is asking for us to solve all of these bullet points and circle the ones that we get 5.63 as a solution. So what we're looking for is 5.63. So let's do the first bullet point. We have 10 minus 4.47. And notice how I lined it up, because our decimals, you have to line them up at the decimal. So I'm going to go ahead and add a decimal for 10 with 2 zeros. I can't do this, so I need to borrow. But I can't borrow from 0, so I need to borrow. But I still can't borrow from 0, so I need to borrow from the 1. 1 becomes a 0. The 0 becomes a 10. 10 becomes a 9, so this becomes a 10. 10 becomes a 9, so this becomes a 10. 10 minus 7 is 3. 9 minus 4 is 5. Bring down your decimal. 9 minus 4 is 5. So we got 5.53. That's not what we're looking for, so this one is not a solution. Do not circle it. The next one is a division one. We have 0.9 and 5.067. Well, we have to move the decimal over to get it out of the divisor. So really, we're just dividing by 9. This 0 is just extra. We're dividing by 9. We should know our 9s. Can 9 go into 5? No. But how many times does 9 go into 50? 5 times. 5 times 9 is 45. Let's subtract. Bring down your 6. How many times can 9 go into 56? 6 times. 6 times 9 is 54. Subtract. Bring down. How many times does 9 go into 27? 3 times. 3 times 9 is 27. We get to 0. And we also get 5.63, which is the answer we're looking for. So circle the second one on number 7 because it works. The third bullet point is multiplication. We have 3.134 times 1.8. So when it comes to decimals, we just save the decimals with multiplication for last. Let's just go ahead and multiply first. So first we look at our 8. 8 times 4 is 32. Carry your 3. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 3 more is 27. Carry the 2. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 2 is 10. Carry the 1. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 1 is 25. So we're done with the 8. Cross off the old. Place your 0 placeholder. And let's move on to the 1. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 3 is 3. Now we add them together. 2 plus 0 is 2. 7 plus 4 is 11. Carry the 1. 0 plus 1 plus 3 is 4. 5 plus 1 is 6. 3 plus 2 is 5. And we had 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers after the decimal. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So we get 5.6412. Close to 5.63, but no cigar. The final one is another subtraction one. We have 15, and I'm going to line up my decimals, minus 9.37. So let's go ahead and add a decimal after the 15 and 2 zeros. We're going to need to do some borrowing. So we can't borrow from 0, but we can borrow from 5. 5 becomes a 4. This becomes a 10. 10 becomes a 9. This becomes a 10. 10 minus 7 is 3. 9 minus 3 is 6. 4 minus 9 you can't do, so you can borrow to make it a 14. 14 minus 9 is 5. Bring down the decimal. We get 5.63, which is what we're looking for. So the fourth one works too. So you should have the second one and the fourth one circled. All right, number 8 requires us to show our work too, so keep this paper handy. They want to know which ones of these are ordered from least to greatest. You must show your work. Now, it just says what set of numbers is. So I don't know if there's more than one answer, but we're going to go through all 4 just in case there is. So I think the best way to do this is to turn every single fraction into a decimal, because then we can look at all the decimals. So the first one, letter A. So this is number 8, letter A. We have 0.875, 1/2, 2/3, 0.25. So they're looking for greatest. So I'm going to put G to L. Well, this is already turned into a decimal for me. I already know 1/2 is 0.5. And 2/3, well, we probably have to put that in decimal form. So 3 can't go into 2, so we need to add a decimal and a 0. 3 goes into 20. 6 times 3 is 18. Subtract. Bring down another 0. You're going to see you're going to get 0.66 repeating forever. So this is 0.66. And then we have 0.25. So is this one in order from greatest to least? It is not. It goes 8, 5, 6. These two would need to be reversed in order for it to be from greatest to least. So A does not work. Let's look at B. We have 3/4. We have 0.625, 3/5, and 1/2. Well, I know 3 out of 4 quarters, if I had money, is 75 cents. 0.625. 3/5 I don't know offhand, so 5 on the outside, 3 on the inside. Add a decimal and a 0. 5 goes into 30. 6 times, we'll get to 0. So this decimal is 0.6. And then lastly, 1/2 we know is 0.5. So is this one in order from least or from greatest to least? Yes, it is. Circle B. Let's check out C now. We have 87%, 0.625, 4/5, and 1/2. Well, 87%, if we have a percent and we want to switch it to a decimal, we do Dr. Pepper. We're at a percent, so we move it over 2. We get 0.87. We're already at a decimal for the next one. 4/5, though, I need to check out. So add a decimal and a 0. 5 goes into 40. 8 times 5 is 40. Subtract, we get to 0, so 0.8. And we know 1/2 is 0.5. So is this in order from greatest to least? It is not. These two numbers would have to be switched in order for that to happen. So C is not a solution for us. Lastly, D, we have 0.8, 2/3, 3/5, 25%. The good news is we've done both of these already, so we can go look back at our information. So 0.8 is already a decimal. 2/3 earlier, when we did it up here, we got 0.66. When we did 3/5 earlier, we got 0.6. And then 25%, if it's in a percent, we Dr. Pepper it, move it twice, we get 0.25. Is this in order from greatest to least? It is. So you should have B and D circled. So that's why we checked all of them. Although it didn't say choose all that apply, there were 2 that applied. All right. Number 9. Michael is 6 years younger than his brother Howard. So Michael's age is 6 years younger. So we don't know Michael's age. Sorry. He's 6 years younger than Howard. Before we keep going, I'm going to write this because we learned how to write these in a mathematical sentence. 6 years younger than Howard, which means you are taking 6 away from Howard's age. So it's going to be, I'm just going to put H for Howard minus 6. So that's how we'll find Michael's age, is Howard's age minus 6. If Michael is 12 years old, write an equation that could be used to solve for Howard's age, H, solve for your equation. So they're saying Michael's age is 12. Well, if Howard minus 6 gives you Michael, that means Howard minus 6 gives you 12, since they said Michael is 12. Now let's solve for Howard's age. To get H by itself, you have to do the opposite of minus 6, which is plus 6 to each side. They cancel. Howard's left by itself. 12 plus 6 is 18. So Howard is 18. So you need to have H minus 6 equals 12, and Howard is 18. The last one, it's going to be kind of blurry because I'm not going to write a whole coordinate plane on my paper because that would just take way too long. All right. Sorry, I'm trying to get it. There we go. Steady. Where will point P be after the triangle is reflected across the vertical line? So here's our vertical line. If it's reflected over the vertical line, that means it's going to stay in the same place, but it's just going to be reflected. So what's going to change? It's still going to stay at the same height. It's just going to have a different x. So y is still going to be 10, but X will be different. Because right now, P is at, let's see, 410. If it reflects, it's going to stay at 10, but we don't know what it's going to be here. So let's see. If it's reflected over the line, that means this point will move. It's one space away from this line, so that will be one space away from that line. This one is 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces, so 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. And this one is 1, 2 spaces away, so 1, 2. Here's what our shape looks like reflected. So where is the new point P at? It stayed at 10 like we already said it would, and now it's at 8. So 8, 10 would be P's new point. And that's it. That took us almost less than 20 minutes. Hope you got a hundo.